Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of York. My name is Donna Alcorn. My pronouns are she, her, and I am your worship associate for this morning's annual Ingathering service. We are delighted to welcome you on the day that marks the start of our congregational program year. Today's service will not only feature a special time for all ages with Mary Barnes, but also an intergenerational water communion ritual. All children and youth are welcome to remain with their families throughout the service today. Starting next Sunday, September 14th, all children and youth will be invited downstairs after the time for all ages for religious education classes, where they will connect and explore together. Now is the perfect time to register your children or your youth for RE classes or to volunteer to help us build and grow our program. As always, our lobby is equipped with live feed of the audio and visual elements of the service if anyone needs to step out for any reason. Our nursery is also staffed and available downstairs. Make sure to note other announcements listed on the back of the order of service, including our blessing of the backpacks, briefcases, and beyond next Sunday, followed by our engagement fair. Scan the QR codes with your phone for more events, activities, updates, and information for newcomers. We are so happy to have you here today with us. Whoever you are, whomever you love, we are glad your faith journey brought you here today. The mission of this congregation is to nurture a loving community, inspire lifelong spiritual and personal growth, and act for a better world. We welcome all of you joining us in person and online this morning. If you are joining us for the first time, we invite you to visit our welcome desk to fill out a newcomer card, or send an email to welcome@uucy.org so that we may get to know you. Let us now mark this time made sacred by our presence by taking a collective breath. Again, welcome to UUCY.
It's so good to be together this morning. My name is Reverend Christin Green. I use she, her pronouns, and I am beyond blessed to be here at UUCY for Ingathering. This was my first Sunday in your pulpit exactly 1 year ago, so I think this calls for a Happy New Year. This year, we are embarking on an exciting adventure together of many paths, knowing that our faith journeys are varied, but one promise: to journey together in love. And each month, our whole congregation is invited to consider a different theme. So in September, we will explore the idea of building belonging. What does it mean to belong? What does it mean to build a sense of belonging for ourselves and others? And today in our ingathering service, in our water communion ritual, and in our potluck after, I hope you witness the belonging being built in all that we do together. Each of us as bodies of water meet and merge to form a larger, stronger body of water that can move mountains. There are many rivers and streams who help UUCY flow like water. To name a few, the friendly face that greeted you at the door was probably Tess, who also provided the flowers behind me to adorn our chancel this morning. Sherry could be in here in the sanctuary with us, but she knows how we Unitarian Universalists love us some coffee. So Sherry and others are brewing in the kitchen while we worship. Connie and Joan will quietly pour themselves over our collection later, counting and recording what we have pledged to share with Off the Streets York this month. Joel and Charlie are in the back faithfully keeping our live stream flowing, and our choir may feel like they're treading water without Gretchen, but Craig and Anna and Lisa and Anne have come through like life preservers to keep us afloat. Each body of water is so precious. Every drop counts, and all of us belong. Come, let us worship together with some centering music from our choir.
So I'd like to invite Ezra to come forward to light our chalice this morning in this sanctuary, a symbol of our living tradition. Those joining us remotely are also invited to light a candle or a chalice of their own. We light this chalice as a symbol of reunion. We unite in this sanctuary to share the flow of our hearts with one another. We gather together in ritual to celebrate our fountains of joy, to hold each other through storms of grief, to guide one another through rapids of transformation, to rest together on ponds of stillness. Together, we honor the spirit of water in its many forms and its life-giving essence. Please rise in body or in spirit to join us in singing hymn 1007, There's a River Flowing in My Soul.
There's a river My name is Mary Barnes. My pronouns are she and her. And if any of you were given a drop of water, you're going to help me with the story today. I've got to put the words to the song here. Okay. The name of my story is A Drop with a Dream. Once upon a time, there was a drop of water named Higgins. Now, Higgins was no ordinary drop of water because he was a drop with a dream. Higgins lived in a valley where it had not rained in a very long time, so all the lovely green grass was turning brown. All the beautiful flowers were wilting, and all the trees were starting to droop. Higgins had a dream that one day the valley would be a beautiful place again. But what could he do? He was just only a drop of water. Now, one day, Higgins decided to travel and tell others about his dream. Now, all the other drops listened politely, but no one believed that his dream could come true. Higgins said one, "Get your head out of the clouds. You can't spend your whole life dreaming." Higgins decided that he had to do something to make his dream come true. So he began to think and think and think. One day, as he was walking, he passed a beautiful blue bucket. And he thought, if enough of us drops of water got together in the bucket, there would be enough water to sprinkle on some of the flowers, and they would be beautiful again. So eagerly, Higgins told everyone his great idea. But everyone thought he was silly. "He's nothing but a dreamer," they said. So Higgins decided he had to do something to convince the others he was right. So he said to them, "I don't know about you, but I'm getting into that bucket. I hope some of you will join me. Then there might be enough enough water to help at least some flowers grow beautiful again." So Higgins ran as hard as he could, and he jumped way high in the air, and he landed kerplunk. Well, kerplunk. He's very soft. In the bottom of the bucket. And there he sat. Just a drop in the bucket. And for a long time, Higgins was very lonely. It seemed like no one else was going to join him. But after a while, some of the other drops could see that the grass was dying, and the flowers were wilting, and the trees were drooping. They all agreed that something must be done. Suddenly, one drop shouted, "I'm going in the bucket with Higgins." And he leaped through the air and landed, kerplunk, in the bucket. Then two other drops yelled, "Wait for us!" And they hopped through the air and landed in the bucket. Then, if you're holding one, you can start coming up. Then, other drops started to come forward and jump into the bucket. And soon more and more drops jumped into the buckets. And then there were 30 and 50 and hundreds of drops in the bucket. And soon, the bucket was full of water. But there were still more drops that wanted to join. So they found other buckets, and they hopped in. And then there were 2 buckets, then 3, then 4, then 10, then hundreds and thousands of buckets of water. Along came a powerful breeze that blew over the buckets, and all the water flowed together to make a mighty stream. Everywhere the water flowed, the grass turned green again, and the flowers bloomed, and the trees stood tall and straight once more. All this happened because Higgins had a dream, and his dream came true. Because he knew that he was just a drop in the bucket. Enough drops can make a bucket full. And then Where there are enough buckets with the wind behind them, then justice will roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream.
And our children are released down to their religious education classes, we're going to start singing a song even here from the rug before we dismiss them. We're going to sing it together and learn some hand signals. It's typically called May Your Mind Be Open to New Learning, but let's do it May our mind be open to new learning. Thank you, Lisa. We dedicate time in our service each week to address what we call matters of the heart. To center our hearts in a spirit of meditation and prayer, Donna and I offer a poem entitled Wonder Ache by John Rodell.
I had been carrying hope in my pocket like it was polished gemstone for years.
Whenever trouble came, I'd squeeze hope tightly in my shaking hand, and I could feel it bump against my palm like a newborn heartbeat. That's how I knew that I was safe.
Recently, though, I somehow lost my hope. I have no idea if I put it down somewhere or if it slipped out while I was fumbling for my keys. Without being able to hold on to hope, I soon became lost myself.
After a while of wandering in the wild on my own, I bumped into Hope, who looked so different. Hope was no longer a little gemstone that could fit in my pants pocket. Hope was now a wide stream cutting through the woods.
I thought I lost you, I admonished. The river grabbed a couple of rainbow trout and used them to smile at me.
Lost me? The water babbled. That's impossible.
Well, 1 minute I was holding on to you, and the next you were gone.
I needed to change forms, Hope replied.
Why, I asked.
Because you've been carrying me for so long that I decided we should try something different.
What's that?
I thought I would take a turn carrying you for a bit.
The river rose up around me and pulled me gently onto my back. I was floating. I didn't realize how exhausted I was until the river held me, and hope carried me, and hope carried me, and hope carried me.
Now, whenever trouble comes, I just spread my arms open and let hope wrap me up in her slow water. And I can still feel it pulse against me like a newborn heartbeat. That's how I know I am safe again.
I don't know where we're going. Hope and I still appear to be so lost, but at least we are together. Maybe we will stay out here without a map for a while longer.
Funny enough, I'm in no rush to get to our destination because it's been so long since I've felt held by anything, and now I think I could really start to get used to it. we now move to those matters shared from our community. This is a time to share the joys and sorrows, the small moments of happiness, and the deepening concerns that reside within our hearts. You may choose to submit something anytime during the week online, or fill out a slip of paper and place it on the pulpit in the morning. I'll also check in with our folks on Zoom to see what is on their hearts. We light one final candle this morning for all that remains unspoken within our hearts. It may feel too large or too small to share. You may not be ready to hear it read aloud, but please know that our community holds these things with you, even if the words never come. We honor all that we carry within our hearts and know that the flame of our faith kindled here resides within us at all times. So may it ever be, and amen. I invite you to remain seated as we sing together hymn 123, but with the Spanish lyrics that are on your order of service. Spirit of Life in Spanish. Got up early this morning to help set this table. Ezra, would you come forward? And let's show him some gratitude for that effort. Ezra will be assisting us today as we partake in our water communion. And any other youth who are just now arriving are welcome to come and assist and stand at this table if they feel comfortable. I come to this table today as a water keeper, as your water keeper. I came bearing this water from your past. This jar not only contains water kept from last year's water communion, but also from annual rituals before my time, likely even before many of your times. This small portion of water represents generations of intentions, blessings, and hopes for a better future. This body of water joins us again today on this table and in this collective vessel. Some of you have also brought your own water because you grew up with that tradition. But whether the water poured into this collective vessel comes from faraway places or the tap in the kitchen to fill these pitchers, the water itself is made sacred by our presence.
Ezra, who prepared our beautiful tables for our water communion ritual this morning, searched for vessels that could hold water.
But now the table is set. Our question changes. What can water hold for us? Our bodies, our memories, our grief, our joy, our hope, our faith, our love. Whatever intention, energy, prayer, or meditation you give to this water, it will hold it gracefully for you.
So when you come to the table, take a moment with the water. Lay your hands on the pitcher before you pick it up. Just greet it in some way that feels right to you. Ponder your intention. What do you need holding this year? What do you need help holding this year? And then pour some of this water into our collective vessel.
Together, our intentions, energy, prayers, meditations combine, symbolizing both our many paths worn by water and our one promise to journey together in love.
And before you return to your seat, we have a small gift for each of you to take with you today. These little colorful heart-shaped stones laid out in shallow water remind us of hope. That little polished gemstone that we can hold close and even in our pockets for now, but someday may become a wide and mighty stream cutting through the woods that holds us afloat instead.
May you each feel as held as closely by this community as that precious little gemstone. May you know that here we will wade together, learn to swim together, and even float together. At the end of our service today, I will invite you to follow me, if you're willing, to take some of this water outside to our labyrinth and our memorial wall to return it to our ancestors. I'll also save some in this jar and keep it for future water communions and baby dedications. We haven't had one of those in a while. Rites of passage. And simply as a reminder that we are fluid and we are one body of water.
In a moment, Craig will offer some music as we begin our ritual together. Our choir will come to the table first, as our ushers come forward to guide you into two lines.
If you are unable to rise in body to participate today, please let an usher know, and they will pour some water into our shared vessel on your behalf.
And they'll also bring you a stone. If you're joining us online, please type your name or a brief message into the chat, and we will hold you in our hearts as we contribute water to this vessel on your behalf. Let us begin. stone. Julie. May we each come to know and trust that the collective waters of our past and present will continue flowing in support and sustenance of this community and all that it touches. Blessings on this ritual. May it be so, and amen. Now, as Unitarian Universalists, we learn from the many paths and sacred sources from which we draw inspiration that water is honored for its wisdom, worshiped for its strength, and used in ceremonies like these. Indigenous peoples have long believed that water is sacred and the home of divine beings, as well as animals. Water has an important role in Japanese Shintoism as a great purifier, a giver, supporter, and sustainer of life. In Buddhism, water symbolizes life, purity, clarity, and calm. Water is revered in Hinduism for its power to purify and cleanse not only the body, but negative karma. Many holy Hindu places are situated along sacred rivers, one of the most famous being the Ganges River in India. Water is mentioned 722 times in the Christian Bible. Christians believe that water represents life and rebirth. Rabbi Brian Feld notes that water, specifically well water, those were the places in the Hebrew text where people gathered, strangers met, found hospitality, and often even fell in love. As Unitarian Universalists, we practice the water communion every year as a way of honoring where we have come, what sustains our lives, and all that supports our collective bodies as we flow into the future. One of my favorite people to quote, Adrienne Marie Brown, says, "Remember, you are water. Of course you leave salt trails. Of course you're crying. Flow." Brown believes that we are called to embrace how much we are like water in order to live our best lives, both individually and within community, to adapt, shift form to improve function, move with power together when the time is right. So we turn to natural bodies of water for wisdom and guidance. Our planet's oceans are the largest and most powerful known bodies of water. We know the sea is made up of individual drops of water and more than we could even fathom, if you will. But yet the ocean as one body cannot be tamed. Experienced sailors and surfers know better than to expect the ocean to bend to their will. Rather, they know to work with its natural rhythms and ride the waves. If we go deeper and begin to identify with the ocean as a body of water, as an ocean that refuses no river, we can see how we can be a force that cannot be contained. Like the moon pulls the tides, we are also pulled by something greater than ourselves, something unchanging. Rivers teach us about flow, how to move around obstacles rather than through them. Heraclitus, the Greek philosopher from the 6th century, is credited with the familiar saying, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man." And we don't know much about that Greek philosopher, Heraclitus, other than that he was a loner. According to the scarce accounts of him, he was a rather sad person, largely disappointed in humanity, becoming known as the weeping philosopher. He never founded a philosophical school like Plato and Pythagoras did. He didn't desire followers. He wrote one single book and deposited the scroll in the temple of Artemis, where it was eventually lost. All that survives of it today are about 100 fragments of pages, which have often come down secondhand in the works of other ancient writers. So his ideas are known mostly by hearsay. Heraclitus may have been disillusioned with human nature, but he knew something about us as bodies of water. Some say that a more accurate translation of his quote may have been this: "You cannot step twice into the same river, for other waters are continually flowing on." I have to say, it's really too bad that Heraclitus couldn't get a chance to hear us sing "My life flows on in endless song, above earth's lamentations. I hear the clear, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love is Lord of heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing?" When we center ourselves around love as our guide and source, how can we keep from singing? We're magnificent beings and bodies of water. A few weeks ago, I took Dana to see Niagara Falls in New York for the first time. And as we approached the state park, we drove alongside the river that flows into the falls, noting the flashes of whitewater as it rushed toward the 176-foot drop. With every new angle that we were able to explore around the falls, we were in awe. We learned that more than 700,000 gallons of water pours over the edge per second. Taking the Maid of the Mist boat ride that sails right up into that horseshoe and turns around made that volume of water very tangible. I think they're right about that. We learned that Niagara Falls is likely more than 12,000 years old, formed during the Ice Age at the same time as the Great Lakes, and that those 4 Great Lakes, Superior, Michigan, Huron, and Erie, drain into the mighty Niagara River before emptying into Lake Ontario. All 5 Great Lakes together make up the world's largest freshwater system. We also learned that the pure force of Niagara Falls erodes the edge by about 1 foot each year, so it moves back almost a whole foot every single year. And that means when I saw the falls when I was a young teenager, they were almost 25 feet further forward. Even with ancient wonders, we are reminded of their impermanence. The shape of water is fleeting. And there's so much richness and depth around us all the time. Gentle rains bringing relief and renewal, ripples of messages from our ancestors, reflections gleaming at us in still waters. When we remember that we are also bodies of water, perhaps we can also remember how we came to belong. From many sources, we've traveled over stones, around bends, carrying life as best we can, before finding ourselves spilling out into this sanctuary, this spiritual vessel built for belonging. May we spill out and find ourselves held in this vessel, in this place, in this body of water. Blessed be, may it be so, and amen. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit to sing hymn 145, As Tranquil Streams. It's to a different yet familiar tune than is it in your hymnal.
We now invite you into a spirit of generosity as we collect our weekly offering. Each month, we commit to share our offering collection with a community organization that upholds our values. I'd like to welcome Beth Brennan from Off the Streets, York, to speak about the work they do. Beth?
Set up here. I came undone for a moment. Sorry. Good morning. My name is Beth Brennan. I am the administrator for Off the Streets, York. I'm grateful today for the invitation to speak to all of you, and thank you so much, Reverend, and for Dan Fink, who extended the invitation to our group. We also have with me today is Jeannie and Larry Machik, who are also volunteers for Off the Streets, York. I'm not even going to read my notes, I think, because I feel like there were so many things that struck me today, some of your words. The building belonging, which I thought really tied into what Off the Streets does as well. And then the poem of hope, my gosh. That poem really hit home for the people that we help in the community, in the York community. So Off the Streets, York is the 11th chapter of Off the Streets in the country. So in 2009, Deacon Michael Oles was working with the homeless community up in Danbury, Connecticut. So he kind of wasn't called to do it, and then until he was invited to speak to a group about working with the homeless. After he did that, he actually brought a homeless person with him, and he said, clean shaven, shirt's tucked in, looks nice and neat, has a full-time job, but he is homeless. He is not able to sustain financially his rent, as well as come up with the security deposit. So he knew that, and so he was living in his car. So the group that he was speaking to took up a collection and gave it to Deacon, and Deacon sat on it for a little bit, not sure what to do with that money. So after a few months, he realized, he's like, I need to help someone get into their own apartment. So he did. He submitted the security deposit to the landlord, found some furniture for that person, and that was the very first Off the Streets. So that was in Danbury, Connecticut. As I said, we're the 11th chapter in York. We are a nonprofit. We are non-denominational. We are 100% volunteer, so there's no paid staff. Although there are days we wish we had some paid staff, because that'd be really great. Most of the volunteers wear many hats, and our purpose is to help individuals by working with the caseworkers in the community. So agencies, I think when I counted last week, we work with maybe 38 different agencies. I didn't even realize we had that many. Some of them are government agencies, some of them are individual, where they have the client come to them and tell them, I need help. And so the caseworker will work with them, in some cases helping them to find a job, find a location to live, and then they can reach out to us, as they do many organizations in the community, where we can help them. If they are able to support themselves and pay forward rent, we can help them with their security deposit. Right now, it's not a secret, so we can go up to $1,000 per person in helping that person get into, again, security deposit paid to the landlord. So if they've got $1,800 due for security deposit, we are still only giving them $1,000. If they were requesting $750, we will give them $750. But it only goes to security deposit. So that's one request they might make. And the second, and probably about 75% of our clients are in need of furniture as well. So we have an A team led by Jeannie, who organizes all the volunteers on moving day, that come together on right now we do Saturday morning moves. And we help those people. We've got a donated warehouse space. We have donated pieces of furniture, which I'm happy to say right now, we are maxed out on space, so we're not accepting furniture donations until after the 15th of September, until we have a few more moves. But the whole purpose is to really help those people bring back their dignity or help them have dignity and feel pride about where they're going. I was thinking about the water. I'm thinking about the water and the flames here, how such basic need, just water and warmth. And a lot of these people in our community do not have that, and that's where we can help them. So it's about dignity and helping them feel proud about where they're moving into. So now I will look at my notes to make sure I don't forget anything. How's that? So today I'm here to spread the word and share about us, and grateful to Nancy over there who really made the connection because of another connection that she had, so thank you. Financial gifts go a long way, primarily for the security deposits, but we also purchase mattresses, we buy bedding, we provide them with towels, kitchen supplies. So if we don't have enough, or we don't have anything nice enough, I shouldn't say that. We only accept things that we will really give out to other people. But sometimes, once in a while, someone drops off a donation and includes some things that maybe we don't need or want. So we will purchase some of those things. One beautiful thing that we have in the last 6 months, one of our volunteers coordinated, is connection with Community Aid, if you're familiar with down on Queen Street, or Springwood Road. We have a code, 50317, that if you go and make a donation and give that code, we get a credit. Off the Streets York gets a credit, and that credit we can use to go in and purchase toaster ovens, crock pots, things to get them set up in their kitchen. So we love the exchange. I love taking my donations to Community Aid now, and I make sure they have our code. And then the other piece is, since we're a partner with Community Aid, they will actually each quarter cut us a check, basically, for a few $100s. And it may not sound like a lot of money, but it all adds up. So we are so grateful for the community support, and that's a good one from Community Aid. We have borrowed the box truck that we do our moves every Saturday, from Catholic Harvest Food Pantry on Market Street. And I'm very proud, excited to say, just last week, we got our own box truck. So after a year, we just started last year, and we have moved 126 families, totaling 262 people since last August. We were hoping August 3rd of 2024 that we would move one family a month. Like, wouldn't that be great? And now we're doing, 3 moves on a Saturday? Yeah. So it takes a lot of effort, a lot of coordination, a lot of good people, a lot of donations, things like that. So it also has taught us the real need for what we do and how many people are homeless in the community. So let's see. Oh, and also the box truck, I do want to make a note. The Knights of Columbus from St. Joseph York Church in East York, Rotary Club of York North, and then 2 anonymous donations. That is how we got our truck. It wasn't like we were taking, $100 here and $100 there. Yeah. But so we're excited about that. And we welcome the donations that you might have. So nightstands, dressers, small, because most of these places that we're moving clients into can only allow for smaller pieces. We also take you kitchen utensils. So there's a variety, and if you ask, we can usually say yes or no. A lot of times people say, oh, I have a whole house full to clear out, which is great. However, we can't take everything. So normally what I ask people to do is send pictures to us, and our warehouse team will decide if we can use it. If they have too many small sofas, we might be 3 or 4 months before we want another one, but we could use it that weekend. So anyway, Larry and Jeannie and I think will be out in the lobby, and we're grateful to be here, and thank you so much, and thank you for your wonderful church.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you. Our ushers will now come forward to collect the offering. If this is your first time visiting with us, please feel free to pass the basket by. Your presence is a gift. Please join us in extinguishing our chalice and your home chalices if you have them lit, and with the words printed in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As we wade through these waters rising around us, may we hold on to these symbols of hope, these little heart-shaped stones, or whatever it is that we can grasp onto, as reminders that we are not only built to be held in community, but we are also built to be and build those bodies of water where we all belong. May it be so, blessed be, and amen. I'm going to collect some of this water up again as we sing together, and then we'll go outside and give some back to our ancestors. Please rise in body or in spirit for 1064 Blue Boat Home. Let us go back to the earth.